Freedom sounds beautiful. People have fought wars over it, built democracies around it, written heavy books about it. And honestly, most of us can barely handle choosing a toothpaste without a little bit of psychological fatigue. That is the first clue. We love freedom in theory, but in practice we kind of prefer guidance, structure, excuses, and ideally someone else to blame. Because freedom is not just you can do what you want. That is the tourist brochure version. Sartre's version is, well, harsher. For Sartre, freedom is not mainly a gift, it's a burden. His famous line is that we are condemned to be free, which means you do not get out of choosing. Not choosing is a choice, delaying is a choice, staying quiet is a choice, going along is a choice. And that idea became especially sharp after World War II, when Europe had just seen what happens when huge numbers of ordinary people hide inside roles, systems, uniforms, and official language. I was just doing my job. I followed orders. That was policy. I had no choice. Sartre looks at that and says, careful, because the moment a person starts talking as if they are just a function, something dangerous has already happened. You are not just a clerk, not just a manager, not just an employee, not just a citizen, not just a professional following procedures with a deeply serious face. You are also the person who complies, stays silent, signs off, looks away, or refuses. And that is where freedom stops sounding inspirational and starts sounding expensive. Because, honestly, most people do not actually want freedom in that form. They want freedom without consequences, options without loss, choice without responsibility, moral innocence with full participation. A beautiful dream. Sartre ruins it. He says we spend much of life pretending we are less free than we are because the truth is awkward. That is what he calls bad faith. Bad faith is self-deception. It is when you act as if you are just your role, your personality, your circumstances, your past, your job, your type, your system. It is when you say, I can't leave. When the more honest sentence is, I could leave, but I do not want the price. It is when you say, that's just how things work here. When the more honest sentence is, I am cooperating with something I do not respect because conflict would cost me. It is when you say, that's just who I am, which is often a very elegant way of saying I would rather turn my habits into an identity than face the discomfort of change. Sartre has very little patience for this, not because he thinks life is easy, not because circumstances are fake, not because fear is imaginary. They are all real. Power is real, pressure is real, money is real, risk is real, history is real. But even inside those constraints, there is usually still some room to respond. Maybe not heroic room, maybe not cinematic room, maybe not enough room to feel good about it, but enough room that responsibility does not disappear. And that is the real problem. People love saying they had no choice because it lets them keep their self-image clean, it lets them do the thing and remain innocent, participate and stay pure, obey and feel detached. But Sartre says, no, you do not get to vanish into your role. Your role may explain you, it does not erase you. And this is why Sartre still matters. Because honestly, modern life is just packed with these polished, respectable forms of bad faith. There's corporate bad faith, relationship bad faith, social bad faith, and yeah, even personal brand bad faith. You hear things like, I'm just being realistic, or I'm protecting the peace, maybe I'm waiting for the right time, or I'm not the kind of person who does that. Maybe that's true, or maybe, you're actually just afraid. Maybe comfort means more to you than truth. Maybe you prefer the safety of the script. Maybe you've been hiding behind that's life for so long that it actually sounds wise now. Sartre's great irritation is that people do this and then call it necessity. That is why freedom feels heavy. Not because it means infinite possibility. That idea is almost cheerful. Freedom feels heavy because it means you are involved. You are in it. You are not just watching your life happen like a confused intern standing behind glass. You are choosing your way through it, badly, fearfully, imperfectly, often while pretending not to. So what do we learn from Sartre? First, not choosing is still choosing. Delay is not neutrality. Silence is not innocence. Second, your role is not your alibi. A job description does not replace a conscience. Third, clean up your language. Stop saying, "I had no choice," when you really mean, "I did not like the alternatives." That is a harder sentence, and a much more adult one. And finally, freedom is often small. It is not always some giant life decision under dramatic lighting. Often, it is this: what truth am I avoiding? Where am I hiding behind politeness? Where am I calling fear realism? Where have I merged with my role because it saves me from having to think? That is where Sartre lives, not only in philosophy books, but in offices, in marriages, in friendships, in institutions, in all the little moments where people cooperate, stay silent, and then act surprised by the life they help produce. And maybe that is Sartre's hardest point. Freedom is not the pleasant idea that you can become anything. Freedom is the much less pleasant fact that you cannot fully hide behind what you are doing. You are still there, still choosing, still responsible, which is not uplifting exactly, but it is honest. So how should people deal with freedom? Not by celebrating it like a slogan, not by waiting for certainty, and not by pretending that fear, roles, systems, or circumstances are doing all the choosing for them, but by admitting something far less glamorous. Freedom is uncomfortable. Responsibility is expensive. And a great deal of what people call necessity is often just fear in formal clothing. That may not be cheerful, but it is a lot closer to being free.